3, 2, 1.
No, please, everyone be quiet.
Welcome back to the Show Me Show podcast for episode 5. Me and Luke back at it. We got some more college basketball talk this week. The NFL, there was actually a little bit going on in the NFL.
Yeah.
A little baseball stuff, not exactly good. We've got a couple of segments as well and some NFL combine talk as well. But we're going to just jump right into the college hoop stuff.
Oh, that one just spun in and out.
And we got Loyola Chicago and Drake in the background.
Missouri Valley Conference Championship game. So whoever wins this, guaranteed spot in the big dance.
Yep.
If you notice, if you're watching on YouTube, we got a little bit of a different setup going on here. We've spaced out a little bit. We think that this will help with the microphone echo that was going on in the last episode that we had to scrap. So far, so good. But hopefully we don't get any more problems. But, yeah, certainly big week of college basketball.
The last regular season week.
Yep. Today is actually the last day of regular season college basketball.
Yep.
So, obviously we're not watching that right now. We're watching postseason. But every team is done now because yesterday was the big day where almost all the conferences finished their games.
Yeah. Obviously, we just actually got done. Well, I did. Watching Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan took down Ohio State in Columbus, which actually might guarantee them a spot in the tournament. They have wins against Purdue, Iowa, Michigan State, and now Ohio State since February.
Yeah, there's certainly a team that is going to be in the conversation. That win is going to help them get on the right side of the bubble. Ohio State right now is really, really falling. I think they've lost their last 3 games now against unranked opponents. So they are certainly on the downslide here, heading into the postseason. That's never what you want to be heading into the postseason. So that might be a team we could see with the first round exit. You never know, though. They could pull out a win. But Michigan, I think, is on the right side of the bubble now. Keep in mind they're doing this all without their coach because he committed assault on live television. But very impressive team, I think. I think they will get in, whether it's the first 4 or the last 4 in, where they have to play the play-in games, or if they'll just get in as like an 11 seed or something. I just can't wait. I mean, it's only a week until Selection Sunday.
Yeah, 1 week exactly. Phil Martelli, 3-2 as the head coach, acting head coach for Michigan. Solid finish, I guess, down the stretch. Over 500, I guess, is what you want. Luke has been composing something on Twitter. We call it the thread. Luke, do you want to tell us about the thread?
Yeah, I would love to. So basically, this year I've said on past podcasts that I've developed an interest in the mid-major schools and just tracking them and stuff. And at this time last week, almost every team was eligible, or they were still in the running to win the national championship, other than a few teams that are freshly new to the D1 slate and they aren't eligible, such as teams like Bellarmine, which plays in the Atlantic Sun Conference tournament on Tuesday. And that game in conference is an interesting scenario that I actually had no idea about until yesterday. That could happen. We'll talk about that in a second. And so as these mid-major tournaments are going on, particularly the Big South, the Southern, the Patriot, Ohio Valley, some of the big ones that have been going on this week, as they're going on and every team loses, they're eliminated. And so this thread, it's on my Twitter account. The start of it is my pinned tweet, actually. So if you just go to my Twitter account, you'll find it really easily. And whenever a team gets eliminated, I tweeted out that so-and-so is officially eliminated, And I think right now we're up to about 80 teams, roughly. Last night it was around 70, so 80, probably be close to 100 by the end of the day today. So only about 250 teams left that could contend for a title, which is still a lot of teams. But it's been very fun, tracking all these results and, one by one eliminating the teams. And it'll go all the way through the NCAA tournament up until the last game when the winner is crowned. So this thread will continue for another month or so, and it's going to be just as cool as it is now. So that is the thread. I thought about maybe creating one for teams that like clinch their spot, but that's not as cool, I don't think, because and most of the clinches will be done on Selection Sunday, and then everyone will know that they made the tournament, so it's not as cool that way. I kind of feel like John Rothstein here in a little bit, just tracking all the mid-major schools in college basketball. That's kind of what I feel like, honestly. Just a big guy like that, but he obviously knows a lot more than me. But some schools that have actually already punched their ticket to the big dance by winning their conference tournament. Murray State beat Morehead State in the Ohio Valley Conference Championship game last night. Very close game. Murray State now moves to 30-2. They are probably going to be the only team that has 30 wins going into the tournament. Maybe Arizona could catch them. I think they need 3 or 4 more, so that could be done in the tournament if it's 3. But Murray State, they're hot. They only have 2 losses, 30 wins, and they went undefeated in their conference.
Yeah,
so
really impressive.
Very hot team. Right now, I think they're looking at a 7 or 8 seed, which, in my opinion, is a little bit low for a 30-win team, regardless of what conference they play in. But I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah. With all that going on, I realized earlier this week. Last week, I said Arkansas rushed the court, but they didn't. SEC was going to lay down the $250,000 hammer of a fine on the university if they rushed the court. So I thought they rushed the court, but they didn't. So I just want to apologize for that. In fact, the Storm Chasers weren't even admitted into that game. They wouldn't even let them go in.
Probably because they didn't want the $250,000 fine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, for sure. Wisconsin earlier this week clinched the regular season title and
Big Ten title. Yes. Yeah. That was an amazing game. I didn't get to watch all of it, but the parts that I did watch were really fun to watch. That's a tournament style game right there. And it just gets me excited for March. I think that was actually on the first day of March too, if I recall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I noted this down because I was talking about it last week or maybe 2 weeks ago. As of Wednesday, Xavier is losing too many games here down the stretch. That St. John's loss was really bad. I don't know if they're going to be able to get in anymore.
They right now are still in, according to most bracketologists. According to me, they're not in, though, because their record sucks. Their team sucks. Their wins aren't quality. I don't understand how they're a tournament team. Like this, it doesn't make it. It's not like they're an SEC. They're a Big East squad, which is still a big conference, but it just doesn't make any sense to me how they're in. BYU is the same way. They have some really, really bad losses and not enough quality wins, and for some reason, they're still treated as a tournament team. Those are the 2 teams that I think will make the tournament that don't deserve to, but they could also be the ones that maybe first 4 out.
Yeah. No, BYU certainly hasn't done enough either in the West Coast Conference.
Hey, they're good this year, though.
What, the WCC?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it is, but they haven't won enough.
Yeah, exactly. Like one of their biggest wins of the year came at the beginning, and it was against Utah. and Utah finished 11th in the Pac-12 conference this year. They had a losing record. So that's not a big win at all. I mean, that's not a win that's going to get you over the top end of the tournament. That's my opinion on BYU. Longwood, funny name, also bunched their ticket to the Big Dance earlier this morning with a win over Winthrop in the Big South Conference tournament. So they were the 1 seed going into that tournament. They were favored to win. Actually, they weren't favored to win this game, but they had the best record out of any team in their conference. They get to go deservedly. I'm thinking they'll probably be around a 14 seed. Right now, they're a 15 seed, but we all know that, some of the other teams that are up there right now might lose. Yeah, they might lose in their conference tournament. So I'm thinking they'll probably be a 14 seed. Nothing really super special about them.
No. Interestingly enough, though, actually, Winthrop going into that game had won 10 in a row, and their last loss was to Longwood. So last 2 losses to Longwood, and their season's over. Well, I don't know. They might play in the CBI or NIT or something like that.
Yeah, but I think they had like 8 losses on the year, so they are certainly a quality team still. They might get some postseason play. It just won't be in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah. For me, it's been a great college basketball week for UNC. Let me just starting on Monday. UNC senior night was awesome. They played Syracuse, and it was a really great game. Syracuse just hangs around in every game, it seems like, except against Duke. But it was a great senior night for the Heels. They had to come back a little bit and seal it away. It took overtime, but they actually covered the 8.5 spread in overtime, won by 9. But it was a fun game. And then, most importantly, last night, Saturday night, Coach K's goodbye tour goes out in shambles, loses his final home game at Cameron Indoor Stadium against none other than the Heels. Very tough scene for Coach K and the Duke fans. And the best part about it all was after the game, looking at all the people in the stands, all the tears, all the grumpy faces. It was so awesome. Fed off of it.
The funny part about that to me is I assume you watched the post-game speech as well, like the ceremonies that they did for him, which was kind of cool because he took that program to the next level. He made him a blue blood school. He won multiple national titles, 5, I do believe he won. That's an insane amount. He's been coaching for like 40-something years, which is ridiculous. So he's certainly one of the greats all time. But it was funny that when he couldn't really say anything other than, "Oh, the season's not over," and the fans were chanting like, "Oh, we won 6." Like they do have a good team, but I would be shocked if they came away with the 6th title this year.
They just, they notorious for choking in the tournament over the last decade or so, like Mercer and stuff like that. But
oh God,
last night, I'll be completely honest, it was in the back of my head the whole day that, oh my God, it would be incredible to crash this party. Incredible. But there was not a single bit of me that believed that they would actually do it because the Heels have been so inconsistent this year, especially on the road in the ACC. But, man, they just kind of controlled it. They shot the ball so well, and Hubert Davis flat out coached Coach K last night. It was awesome. The semester hood had everybody there in the stands for Duke, which was, I guess, cool for them, but it was also cool to see them mad that they lost Coach K's last game. And then Coach K, of course, scolded his players.
Yeah, it's unacceptable. Yeah. He also dodged Hubert Davis in the handshake line.
No, that wasn't him. As much as I wish it was Coach K, it wasn't him.
Oh.
It was one of his assistants.
Looks just like him.
Yeah, well, except he was black.
No, he wasn't.
Yeah, he was.
No, he wasn't. It was a white guy that –
No.
Hubert Davis was black.
Yeah, but so was the other guy. The assistant coach that missed the handshake. was pretty mixed.
I
You'll have
must
to look at
have
the
not
film.
been watching the tape very well.
Yeah, you'll have to look at the film. But yeah, not very classy either way. But K definitely did shake his hand, as he should.
Yeah.
But with that being said, Duke still clinched the regular season title for the first time actually since 2010. And since then, Carolina and Virginia have both won 5 regular season titles. So they haven't won it since 2010, but they finally got another one.
Oh, that's kind of insane to think about that they haven't won a regular season ACC title in 10 years. But
Yeah.
I guess that just shows how bad the ACC is this year, maybe. Or maybe how good Duke is. It's one of the two. But speaking of UNC, they're actually one of my teams that I have on my list of dangerous teams in the tournament.
No, yeah, they were
Teams to
so
pick.
hot.
Teams to pick to ride with. UNC is actually one of them. They've been getting hot lately. And after that win, that's going to get them going. I think if they could go on a run here in the ACC tournament, clinch their spot in the tournament with a conference tournament win here, would be a pretty epic way to go in. They probably get what, a 9-10 seed.
Oh, I think they clinched last night, and it's no question about it anymore. The Duke win.
Yeah, I know, but like officially clinch, I guess.
Oh yeah, I mean, well, to officially clinch, they'd have to win it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm talking about. You go in, win 3 games in that tournament or 4?
Yeah, we'll have to win 3 because we're going to be the 3 seed.
Gotcha. So, yeah, win 3 games, go in hot.
No, yeah.
And if you guys do make it to the championship, you play Duke, most likely.
Probably. Although that one, it'll be interesting to see how they rebound from that game because that was really bad. You know, a lot of people saying that's one of the biggest regular season wins for North Carolina ever. Just because of the magnitude of that game.
Did it for Roy.
Yeah, did it for Roy. In fact, Armando Bacot, awesome guy, awesome kid.
Center for North Carolina, right?
Yeah, center for North Carolina. FaceTime Roy in the locker room after the win, which was awesome. And there's a video circulating of Mondo and Brady Manick crying and hugging Coach Davis in the locker room, and it was pretty awesome. You know, they were hugging him like he was their dad, and it was pretty awesome.
Yeah, very emotional win, I'm sure, for everyone on that team. Emotional wins can be
empowering,
yeah. That's why they're on my especially if they get like maybe like a 11 or 10 seed, which I think if they win their conference tournament, they'll get probably maybe a 7 even.
Oh, yeah, I believe so. I think it could even be higher than that.
Yeah, and they get a good seed, like maybe where they avoid the 1 or 2s. They could go on a run here. And I will certainly pick them because they're hot right now. Another team I have is St. Mary's, the Gales, out of the West Coast Conference. One of the other schools, they actually are coming off a win against Gonzaga on their senior night where they stormed the court. They are a fun team to watch. And they're cooking right now. They've moved up all the way up from like an 11 seed at the beginning of the month, and they've moved up all the way into the talks of being a 5 seed, which is some of the wins that they've had. So they're a team that you can certainly watch out for. I'm picking them to potentially go on a run here. Memphis is another team. They are hot, and they're getting healthy. That has been their biggest problem all year is they've had their 3 stars. I'm blanking on their names here because I'm not a real big Memphis enthusiast, but their 3 big stars have been hurt almost the entire year. One of them just came back last week, and another one is expected back for the American Conference tournament. So not only are they winning and winning big, but they're getting healthy. That team could be another UCLA, because they're probably going to get last 4 in and might have to play in the play-in game. That's exactly what UCLA did last year, and they went all the way to the Final Four.
Yeah. Some more on that Memphis team. Like you just said, they're getting hot. But when they are at full strength, and playing as well as they are, they're one of the best teams. Not just in their conference, but in the country, in my opinion, when they're fully healthy, which hasn't been often this year. But they also just completed the season sweep of Houston, which is Luke's one of his biggest frauds
Yep.
in college basketball, as we mentioned last week. So pretty good end of the season, regular season for them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, another team I have written down is Murray State. We talked about them. They're obviously a 30-win squad. They've only lost twice. It only takes one loss in the tournament to knock you out, but they're slowly moving up to a 7 seed. They could make some noise here. They could pull off a few upsets off the bigger squads, I think. Now, funny enough, I only had one Power 5 school on that on those rankings of teams being hot, but really, I think this is the year of like the mid-majors. Like the Mountain West Conference is going to have 4 teams get in. The West Coast Conference is going to have at least 3, if not 4, with BYU getting in. So some of
Do you
these,
think could San Francisco get in?
yeah, I think they're in. Yeah, I think they'll be a 10 or 11. I think they're pretty much locked into their spot. They've had some good quality wins. And then the American with Houston and Memphis. You could see an SMU even. They're kind of on the fringe right now. If they get in, they got multiple teams as well. So some of these conferences that aren't necessarily Power 5 are getting a lot of schools in. And the Mountain West is a conference to look out for this year. Wyoming has been –
Colorado State.
Colorado State is the team that is really good, though. Wyoming was good at a point. I think they're kind of starting to fall off now, so maybe be a little cautious with them. San Diego State is getting hot as well. They're a team to look out for if they get in. And what's the other team? Boise State. I don't know how to feel about Boise State. I don't think I've watched a single game of theirs this year. But I can't wait. I can't wait to look at that bracket and just fill it out.
Mm-hmm.
I can't wait for it.
Yeah. No, I'm really excited. I'm really excited for in a couple of days. I love the SEC tournament and then the ACC tournament, even though you say it's way down this year.
I'll still have fun with it. Yeah.
So I'm really excited for those.
The best part about the ACC tournament and the SEC tournament and stuff is that they're during the day, so you can watch them like during school and stuff.
Yeah.
So that's the best part about them, in my opinion. But
yeah, my dad actually would take off school, skip class, and watch the ACC tournament back in his day.
It used to be a big thing, the ACC
yeah.
tournament. Yeah.
That was the one that was really widely televised back in the day when not everything was televised.
Yeah.
So
this is the big basketball conference.
That's pretty much all I have for college.
Yeah,
hoops.
I think next week we're looking to maybe record after Selection Sunday.
Hopefully.
So we'll have the fresh thoughts on that and, bracket predictions because we should have the bracket by then. So next week's show will be a fun one for sure.
Yeah.
This one's kind of just like a build up. Like
we're getting there.
Yep.
Yeah.
The
building block.
Currently up by 8 here on Drake. About 7.5 minutes left.
Yeah, this game will probably be over by the time we're done.
Yeah, I mean, Loyola Chicago, they have really showed. I mean, they held UNI to 0 field goals. UNI was the number 1 team in the Missouri Valley this year. They held them to 0 field goals in the last 16 minutes of the game yesterday.
Yeah, I saw that on Twitter.
Absolutely incredible. 16. That's almost an entire half. They held them to 0 field goals. That they got some of the best defense. They got Drew Valentine as their head coach, which I'm pretty sure he's Denzel Valentine's brother because they look exactly alike.
Not confirmed.
Not confirmed either. That's an assumption, but they do look exactly alike and they have the same last name. So it's an assumption.
Educated guess, if you will.
Yeah. So I don't know how they're going to perform. That's going to be, they have some guys on that team that Lucas Williamson, for example, I didn't even know he still played, but he's been there a long time and he's got a lot of postseason experience. And this is a good defensive squad. And that's what comes in handy in the tournaments. in the big dance is good defense. That's why Syracuse always does so good in these tournaments because they got good defense. They got the zone.
Yeah, but they're probably not going to get in unless they win the ACC tournament.
Would not surprise me.
I actually think it would surprise me this year. They just not exactly the same, but we've seen it before when they've had records very similar to this one, and then they'll make the Sweet 16. So
yeah,
we'll see.
And they got Buddy and Jimmy Boeheim.
Yeah,
They got
but
the Boeheim trio.
Wild.
The hat trick of Boeheims. Only one of them has killed a person, too.
Only one.
Yeah. It was accidental. He didn't mean to do it. He did get a standing ovation when he walked into the arena on his first game back, which was kind of a tough scene for Syracuse, but
that's in the past.
It's in the past. He apologized. He wasn't drunk either, so it's forgivable, I guess. But
yeah,
he does still have to live with that he killed a man. So
yeah. All right. Well, I think that'll wrap it up. But we do actually have some NFL stuff.
You want to take that out?
Why?
If everything sounds fine, because I noticed you're really slow.
Oh no, it's fine.
Okay.
Oh, it's good.
All right.
NFL update. This actually happened on Monday, I believe. But Ali Marpet retires after 7 seasons with the Buccaneers. I'm sorry, he retired on Sunday. This was a little bit of a shocker to me, kind of out of nowhere, kind of like an Andrew Luck, obviously way less scale because it's not a quarterback, but just a great player. Was a great player for the Buccaneers.
Still young too, in the prime.
28 years old, which opens up a new hole in the offensive line for the Buccaneers, and a little bit less appealing to go there for anybody in free agency. And then I'm hearing lots of stuff today on Twitter that Ryan Jensen, the most coveted center in free agency this year, has been looking at teams like the Steelers and such. And so if they're out an offensive guard and they're all-pro center.
Not to mention their
missing
Hall of Fame quarterback.
Yeah, exactly. So not great news for the Buccaneers lately. But one thing to note, interestingly enough, the Buccaneers will also play the first NFL game in Germany this upcoming season, which is interesting. There is like an NFL Europe thing, but I don't think there's ever been a game in Germany.
Who are they playing?
That actually hasn't been decided yet.
Okay.
But they have been named the home team in that game.
Yeah, I know the Packers have a very similar situation, except it's in London. And the Packers are actually the only team that has never played overseas before in the NFL.
Yeah,
that's what I saw anyway. That's what my sources were telling me. So finally get to have that this year. That would be cool, especially if we have Rodgers and Devontae back, which Rodgers is set to make his decision on what he's going to do on Tuesday. So mark your calendars. Stream the Pat McAfee show during the day because he will be announcing his decision. I hope to God that it's back with the Packers, but if not, I just want him to be happy.
Also, Matt Nagy to coach quarterbacks in Kansas City. So he was hired to coach the quarterbacks. So Patrick Mahomes, this is kind of an interesting hire because Nagy could have drafted Mahomes all those years ago, but it could be an easy segue job.
That wasn't Nagy. That was Ryan Pace that drafted him.
But
Nagy wasn't there.
He wasn't there at all?
No. He was with the Chiefs, wasn't he?
I thought that was his first or second year.
I will look it up.
I thought that was his first off season at least. But interesting hire because it could be an easy segue job back to head coaching for Nagy. But that's pretty much it. Kyler Murray wants a long-term deal with the Cardinals. Eric Burkhart, Murray's agent, says that Murray's proposal for a new deal is in the same stratosphere as other big name quarterbacks in the market, but wants other players to be signed as well on the team. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's been a Pro Bowler twice, I think now, and he was Rookie of the Year his rookie year, but they got blasted in the playoffs, and he was a little upset that he was the scapegoat for all of that. He hasn't done anything crazy yet in
Mhm.
terms of postseason success or any success that has any real type of meaning
Yeah. Like
for the
you could
Cardinals.
a lot of people are saying Lamar Jackson has none of the postseason success, but he had an MVP. Kyler
Mhm.
Murray, I don't even think he's finished top 3 yet. So
No.
to get that kind of money would be a little ridiculous, I think. I mean, he's obviously a good quarterback, and if I was the Cardinals, I wouldn't mind paying him a big contract to stay, but not at the scale that he wants. Like that's going to be too much money. I don't think any team's going to give him that unless like they're desperate for a quarterback,
Yeah.
like the Washington football team or something.
Well, and he's still on his rookie contract. Like, he has one more year left. So they need to let that play out, in my opinion,
Mhm.
to see if because maybe he'll make another big jump. He has gotten better every single year, but he needs to make another leap to get the kind of money that he wants,
Yeah.
in my opinion.
Yeah. Uh, I honestly think that's not the fault of his own. I think that's the fault of his coach, who, by the way, just got an extension
Yep.
through 2027.
And the GM was also extended.
Yes. Well, the GM, I think he's been doing a fine
No,
job.
he's fine.
But Cliff Kingsbury he's got this problem where he's a first half coach. Like not the first half of games like
The
Kyle
season.
Shanahan is. He's a first half of games coach. But he's a first half of the season. Well, he will go on a run. He did it with Texas Tech when he was the head coach there. He's done it in almost every single year, except for maybe his very first year, where they start off hot. They're one of the best teams. Like, oh, they're Super Bowl favorites. And then by the end of the year, they're a wild card team, barely sneaking into the playoffs. Like the complete opposite of what Brian Flores would do. Brian Flores would suck at the beginning of the year, and then they'd go on a run late in the season and barely miss the playoffs. But everyone's like, oh, they fought hard,
Yeah.
So,
and we've talked about that earlier on in our shows.
No, we didn't. That was the one that got deleted when we talked about that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was
Yeah.
before we got everything working. I think that was the very first episode, too. So, like, if a team would hire like a dual head coach, this is just hypothetical. I don't even know if this is possible. But if they could hire Cliff Kingsbury to coach the first 8 or 9 games of the season and then have him step down and have Brian Flores take the reins for the last half of the season, that's a pretty unstoppable team right there.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the coaching combo. Or maybe if you're the Dolphins and want to lose, you hire Brian Flores for the first half and Cliff Kingsbury for the second half. But
yeah, and then they can just both take payments of like $100,000 per game. Also, the NFL COVID protocols will not be in place next season.
Yeah, probably good.
As agreed on by the NFL and the NFLPA. So,
yeah, probably good. I think a lot of those, players weren't even following them in the postseason anyway because they didn't want to sit out for a postseason game. So I don't blame them either. That's what you work for the whole season is the playoffs. Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Rodgers is happy about that. So
yeah, for sure. Some NFL Combine stuff. This was all this week. Sam Howell was asked to shoot a mini hoop for the Eagles. Went 2 for 5, and he says he thinks he fell on their draft board, which was kind of funny. Matt Corral says he has no regrets regarding playing in the bowl game when he hurt himself, which I love because I love it when they play in the bowl games. And I also understand when they don't, but I just thought it was cool that he voiced that so people don't continue to barrage him with questions about that.
One thing about the mini hoop. Have you seen that video of Nick Sirianni?
Yeah.
And the reporter, and Nick Sirianni was basically Steph Curry on the mini hoop.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't even know what he did before he was a coach. I assumed he played football in some form. But I wouldn't be surprised if he was also a basketball star too, because he was kind of. I understand why they actually have prospects shoot these mini hoops because they need someone who can compete with Nick Sirianni in the training camp mini hoop games.
Yeah.
You know, because Nick Sirianni's probably blowing them all out of the water, except for maybe Gardner Minshew. I've heard he's pretty good at the mini hoop, as well. But
Probably why they signed him.
probably. And Nick Sirianni was with he's with the Colts. Never mind. I was gonna say with the Jaguars, but he probably had some good looks at Gardner Minshew when he was with the Colts.
Yeah, in division.
Yeah.
Kenny Pickett's hands were measured at 8.5 inches, which is very small for an NFL quarterback.
Yeah, I wonder what my hands are.
I actually measured mine Thursday, and mine are 9 inches exact.
Really?
But I don't think that the hand size really means that much
Wait,
because
hold on. I'm gonna measure mine on yours. How close is it? I think I'm a little longer.
yeah, you might be. So you might be like a 9 and an eighth or something like that. But Joe Burrow
Quarterback.
had small hands, and according to the metrics, he was the most accurate quarterback this year. So there's that on hand size. And according to me, I think Kenny Pickett was actually the best quarterback in the ACC this year, even better than Sam Howell.
One thing to worry about with Kenny Pickett, though, is that your Pittsburgh Steelers are looking at drafting him, right?
They're looking at drafting all kinds of guys, though, it seems like.
But I think Kenny Pickett seems to be a favorite among Steelers fans, to lead the team. But I think what you have to worry about is with his small hands playing in the cold weather in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah, you really have to worry about that. I mean, because not a lot of guys with small hands can really play up there in that Pittsburgh environment.
Yeah.
The football.
Yeah.
It's not like he's ever done it before. So
yeah.
Yeah,
definitely has never done that. It's not. In fact, it's probably has never even set foot in Heinz Field.
Yeah, I actually don't even think he knows what the state of Pennsylvania looks like.
Yeah, probably not.
Yeah, he's not. He doesn't live there. He's never even seen it on a map. I don't think so. That's certainly a worry if you're a Steelers fan. That you might just be like, it might have a culture shock. Have
all new facilities and everything.
Yeah.
The last good 8.5-inch quarterback in the NFL was actually Michael Vick. So he had a pretty good, successful career. He also played indoors, I guess, half the time.
Yeah, he also made his dogs play inside too, if you know what I mean. But
and he played in Pennsylvania too, with the Eagles.
Yeah, that's
he
true.
Played really good there. So
was that before or after McNabb?
McNabb?
Yeah,
it was after. It was in 2012.
It was after. I thought Donovan McNabb was after Michael Vick.
No, he was before. I don't even really remember McNabb, to be honest with you.
No.
I watched the receivers run the 40, which was fun. The top 10 wide receiver times, I actually got them right here. Tyquan Thornton had a 4.21, but revised it 4.28. Tennessee Velas Jones Jr. 4.31. Calvin Austin from Memphis 4.32. White guy from Cincinnati, Alec Pierce 4.33, fourth fastest time. Some other notable names: Christian Watson from North Dakota State 4.36. Garrett Wilson from Ohio State 4.38. Chris Olave 4.39. So pretty fast.
Do you have the time on Jordan Davis?
Yeah, I
the
know.
350-pound defensive lineman.
Yeah, 4.78. And for comparison, Jerry Rice ran a 4.71.
So he's 350 pounds, like 6'7", plays defensive line, and he's as fast as Jerry Rice.
Pretty much.
That's incredible how much our athletes have evolved over the past 30 years. Exactly. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, and it was fun watching him at Georgia because he was just bigger than a lot of guys. Not everybody, because people look at him and he's huge, But they also forget that he's going up against SEC offensive linemen who turns out also are very large, no matter what school you're looking at.
Mhm.
So,
Except for Evan Neal. I mean, he's large, but he's not large. I don't know if you saw that picture or
yeah,
not, where he looks super skinny. But
yeah. Even though he's 340.
yeah, that's incredible. The amount of athletic ability
Yeah,
that these guys have. Anyone that says they could play it down in the NFL without getting killed is probably wrong. Just any
probably.
normal person,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
That kind of pretty much all the NFL stuff that kind of happened. Really, not a whole lot. Combine has been cool. I don't know if you saw the Malik Willis thing. The Liberty quarterback
Mhm.
gave some clothes to a guy that was struggling on the streets in Indianapolis.
Yeah, that was a very classy thing to see from Malik Willis. One thing I hate about this, though, is the internet. When they obviously the video was posted online, which is cool. The guy saw it out. He was, like, eating in a restaurant across the street or something and saw it, so he posted it online, and there's so many comments like, "Oh, this is fake. This is set up."
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's how much people don't believe that there's good in the world
Yeah,
anymore, is that they will go to these links. Somebody is literally he, like, gave them, like, 2 T-shirts or something
yeah.
out of his suitcase.
Nothing crazy. It's not like he gave him like
Yeah.
$10,000.
He just gave him a few
Malik
T-shirts.
doesn't even have that.
No, he just gave him a few T-shirts, and people are like, "Oh, this is set up to make him look better or something." That's so stupid.
Yeah. Then why wouldn't other people do it all the time?
Exactly. Why wouldn't Yeah. Exactly. And
So-
why would they choose Malik Willis of all people?
Yeah, exactly. The Liberty quarterback.
Yeah. So that just it infuriates me when people they say, "Oh, it's set up, it's fake." Like, just enjoy this guy. He's clearly a classy guy, and he made a nice gesture. I think we should appreciate that and salute him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. And I watched the quarterbacks throw, and he looked pretty good. Sam
Big arm.
Howell looked pretty good. He missed an out route.
Very bad. Malik Willis has a big arm, though.
Yeah,
Very deep. And he had some good accuracy on it, too.
yeah. But honestly, almost all the quarterbacks looked good throwing. Like even like Jack Cohn from Notre Dame and stuff like that. Even he looked good. It's just that's just how good NFL caliber prospect quarterbacks are. When there's not 250-pound linebackers rushing at them and stuff like that, and they're just playing catch with receivers. That's just how good they are.
Yeah.
So, I have a couple of talking points here. New York City mayor can't make an exception for Kyrie Irving, meaning he still can't play home games because they have the vaccine thing for workers.
I thought they were supposed to take that off.
Yeah, they're taking it off, but it doesn't apply to workers. So, like, if you're working a job, then you still have to have the vaccine.
Oh, really?
Well,
what did it apply to in the past? Just, like, going out, like, in restaurants or stuff?
I think it was people. This could be wrong because I didn't research that far into it, but I thought it was like workers and people going into workplaces.
Oh, so now, like, it eliminated it for the people going into workplaces.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, okay. I was under the assumption that it was being dropped, and that meant that Kyrie Irving could play again, but I guess that's obviously not right.
As of right now.
Yeah.
Obviously, subject to change as things get better, which they clearly are. Another thing, FIFA suspends Russia from the World Cup, and Russia is already peeled. So is UEFA. I saw UEFA banned Russia right now. And then Jeter steps down as the vice president, shareholder as the Marlins.
Yep, that was my kiss of goodbye, but
Oh, my bad.
that's fine. We could talk about that a little bit. Yeah, so a few things. You want to do tough scene of the week here?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and jump into the tough
All
scene
right.
of the week.
Our tough scene is that we still have not received our ad that we're supposed to run, so we're still waiting on that. I have no idea when that's going to come in. My actual tough scene of the week is the NFL Combine 40-yard dash
Timer
guy. Yeah. I don't know what his name is, but he's brand new this year because the NFL has had this one guy doing it for like years. Yeah, years. And he was really good at it, but he just retired after last year. And they have a new guy this year, and there were some pretty bad times. Like, so obviously they time it originally, and then they go back and look at the film to get the exact time, which is kind of weird how they do that and micromanage it and stuff, and why they even need a timer in the first place, like to get the unofficial time. But Tyquan Thornton, who ended up running a 4.28, was originally timed at 4.21, which would have been an NFL Combine record. And so people were going nuts. Oh, he broke the record. He's the fastest guy ever. And then, turns out, he's actually not that close. I mean, he's still fast. 4.28 is insanely fast, but he's not that close to the record.
Yeah, not 4.21.
Probably the biggest one was Chris Olave.
Yeah.
It was measured at 4.26, which is one of the fastest times measured ever. And people are like, I didn't know Chris Olave was this fast. Well, turns out he's not. He's at 4.39. That was 0.13 off, which is
a lot.
A lot in
real
4.5 seconds. Yeah. In a 4.5 second span, 0.13 is a lot. If we were just going like that, then it wouldn't be that much. But in that measurement, that is a lot. And that's just something that guy's going to have to clean up next year.
No, yeah. But it's kind of funny to already look at that. And it's not that this never happened before with the old guy. He was just better at it.
Mm-hmm.
So, my first tough scene of the week was on Wednesday, March 2nd. 3 men protested outside of the MLB HQ in New York with signs like "Man Fraud" and "Manfred hates baseball." You may know these people as Jersey Jerry, Frank the Tank, and Doug's.
Coach Doug's.
The police were called. In the picture, it looks like they were cuffed. So I guess baseball not only hates, or MLB not only hates baseball, but also freedom of speech.
Yeah. They're basically a terrorist organization.
Pretty much,
if you ask me,
point.
Rob Manfred is basically the equivalent of Osama bin Laden at this point, or Adolf Hitler, really, the way he's punishing the fans and the players too. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, players want to take a protest and he shoots them down, just kind of like Kim Jong-un would. So Rob Manfred is a dictator of baseball. He's a dictator. He's not a man that loves it at all. So,
yeah. Also, I don't know if I think you did see this, but in that Timberwolves and Thunder game the other night, the Timberwolves stole the ball and had a fast break layup, only to be deterred by a group of Thunder janitors cleaning the floor, like slick spots, and whatnot. Not a great look, though, for people that say Jordan played against plumbers and janitors, because today's generation couldn't score against the janitors either.
Yeah, the guy actually, he wasn't even trying to block him, and he did. Yeah. I mean, he was just standing turned the other way, and he actually got the defensive stop. So, smart move by the Thunder. I wonder if we'll see this by more teams.
Yeah,
stop the fast break there. Did they call a foul?
No. So here's the thing, that should be an instant technical.
Mm-hmm.
And the refs just let it go, which was kind of hilarious to watch the video in real time, because they get the steal, they're running down the floor, easy layup, and the janitors are just in their way, blocking them.
Just scrubbing the floor, not even a clue what's going on.
And he misses the layup. And he also runs into the janitors as well.
Yeah.
So if he would have made it, should have been an and one, but didn't make it. And then, boom, just like that, the Thunder got the board, and we're back down the floor like nothing happened. No technical foul, no nothing.
Absolutely. I'd never seen anything like that before. That was crazy.
It was, you're right. You just don't really see that often. I mean, they have to clean the floor super fast so guys, are safe when they're coming back down the floor on those slick spots. And they just were not ready for it and got hammered.
Yeah. It was really funny, though. They had not a clue in the world of what was going on. And the fact that they didn't call a foul made it funnier. So I don't know if this is a tough scene for the Thunder or if it's a tough scene for the officials. It might be both.
I would say it's a tough scene for the Timberwolves Yes,
That's
the
true.
the layup against Janitors.
I think they won though. I think they ended up
Yeah,
winning.
they were winning. They were up by, like, 16 or something during the shot. Um, and then also, like you said, tough scene on the refs for having no idea what to do in that situation, but also kinda classy to just let them play.
No, that's an obstruction of the game. Like, I am all for letting them play, especially at the end of the game whenever they have so many replays that makes NBA impossible to watch. But honestly, that's an obstruction of the game. Like, that is a non-basketball play. You have to call that. I would be furious if I was the Timberwolves, especially if it was a closer game. Obviously, it
Yeah,
wasn't, but yeah, very funny scene.
yeah.
They were not supposed to be there.
No, that was funny. That's all my, tough scenes.
Yeah, I only had one.
Yeah.
So,
So I think since we last recorded, baseball officially MLB will have to cancel, I think, what, the first 2 series of the regular season
yes, first six games, I do believe.
right now.
Yeah, so, like, opening day right now is scheduled to start, like, a week later than usual, which isn't gonna be that big of a deal if that's what ends up happening, but I think any of us with a brain know that that's not gonna happen.
Mhm.
It's gonna be at least a month to 2 months that's gonna get canceled, if not the whole season, um, because these sides are so far apart on the negotiations, and they're not meeting. Like, they met today. It was the first time since, uh, it was officially announced. Honestly, a tough scene by Manfred there in his press conference. Okay, actually, let's backtrack here. So Monday at midnight, after, Monday, that was supposed to be the deadline. The owner said if they didn't get the deal done by then,
They pushed it back though, didn't they?
yeah, they said if they didn't get the deal done by then they would cancel regular season games. But according to the media, negotiations started to meet up. They met like 14 times or something that day. The lawyers were walking back and forth the whole day. They were really trying to get a deal done. I think they were making progress, but reports were saying they were super close to a deal,
And then it went
and
backwards.
that actually was never the case. They weren't close to a deal at all. My guess is the owners were probably feeding the media wrong information so that whenever they didn't reach a deal the next day, and actually that goes into it because they extended the deadline to the next day because they wanted to make people think that they were kind of close to a deal.
That they're trying to make it happen.
Yeah. So they extended the deadline to the next day, and then obviously they made one best and final offer, and the players declined it because it wasn't that good really for them. And then shortly after, Rob Manfred met with the media and officially canceled games, and he was caught laughing and giggling while
Mhm.
announcing the cancellation of his business, really, that he runs. Not a good look for baseball, not a good look for Manfred. He's probably the most hated commissioner.
Yeah. I mean, the league it's bad. It's in the dumpster right now.
Yeah, I mean, even Roger Goodell, there's a good amount of people that hate him, but I've actually met some people that are indifferent about him.
I've become indifferent about Goodell over the past
Yeah.
few years because the NFL has done a lot of stuff right. And he leads the league, the owners and stuff in the right direction on a lot of things, including the players, and does a lot of the right things for the players.
Oh, yeah, and he markets his players really well too.
Mhm.
That's something that the MLB does not do. And that is one of the biggest things that the players want in these negotiations is better marketing, to help grow the game a little bit here. And the owners, I honestly have no idea what they want out of this other than
Yeah.
I don't know what they want out of this because they're not willing to accept change. That change has happened in the last 5 years. Change is certainly set to come in the next 5 years, and I don't think the owners are willing to accept it. And that's not how it works. So you either have to adapt or get left behind. And I think baseball right now may be on track to being left behind. Back to the commissioner thing, the Roger Goodell. I met some people that are indifferent. I've become indifferent. He's done some things that maybe are a little sneaky. Maybe the Rams situation, but for the most part, he's done some good things too. But I have not met one person that says they like or are indifferent about Rob Manfred. It's, oh, I don't like him or I hate him.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't know how you could still operate and do the things you do just with all that hate. So tough scene for baseball.
Yeah, and there's really no end in sight right now. And of course, Bob Nightingale had to be the guy to put the news out that they were getting close, trying to find his first big break,
Yep.
and then wasn't to be.
Yep. Yep. I think as soon as we saw Bob Nightingale tweeting that, oh, they're making progress, we should have taken that as a sign that we're
It's
not
over.
getting a deal done. Yeah. Obviously the Trevor Bauer is signed with the Mets.
Yeah.
Bob Nightingale news there. John Heyman also joined in the tweeting about the lockout potentially on its way to being over. Another sign that we should have seen the lockout was not going to be over. Those two are probably I'm not going to say they're dumb, but they've certainly not had a lot of big breaks in the business. So, yeah, that's all I got to say about that. It's a tough scene. There'll probably be not much more news other than more games being canceled. But it seems like a lot of the players are united. Like they want a cause, they want change, they want to fight for their rights and the rights of the younger players, really too. And they're not going to be thrown around by the owners. So unless the owners give in a little bit, because I think the Players Association is willing to give in a little bit. Obviously, they're staying strong right now, but they both have to give in a little bit, and I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so far apart.
I think the only positive thing that's come from all of this is that the growth of college baseball has kind of taken off lately. They're selling out stadiums. College stadiums are being sold out for college baseball.
Or
It's
even
cool.
the LSU game. They had a game at the Houston Astros Stadium, Minute Maid Park, and that was a sellout. That crowd, that was like watching a major league game with the crowd there. I mean, that was amazing.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. It's cool to see its growth in this short amount of time, and also its growth really stemming kind of from last year's College World Series to now, which is cool. So,
yeah, obviously NC State has Tommy Tanks.
mm-hmm.
He hit 8 home runs in his first 7 games. I don't know what it is now. I haven't really kept up this week.
I know it went from, like you just said, 8 and 7, and then I know he did 9 and 8. So I don't know if his run is still going on, but
yeah, very, very cool to see these players that maybe you never heard of. It kind of reminds me of college basketball in a way, because like every team has a chance, really. So,
yeah.
And you can have guys from any school step up, really.
Oh yeah,
like I know Stetson is a big baseball school, and they're just in the middle of nowhere in Florida. So,
yeah. Well, there's a lot more D1 baseball schools, I think, than obviously D1 football, and then probably even D1 basketball.
Looks like Loyola Chicago is going to win here.
Yeah, Drake kind of came back a little bit.
Yeah, made it a game at the end. 6.1 seconds left. Loyola Chicago up by 4 and going to the line to shoot free throws. This game appears to be over. How about Loyola Chicago bouncing back? They kind of had a rough end of the regular season. People were talking about them not even making the tournament, really, after at the beginning of the year, being talked about as maybe a 7 or 8 seed. Looks like they're going to get in. I would presume they're about 11 seed, which is the actual number that they had when they went on their Final Four run. So, part 2, maybe.
Yeah. All right. You want to jump into the say hello, kiss it goodbye segment? Kind of round out the show. I'll start. My say hello is people posting heartbreaking college basketball videos on Twitter and whatnot. People yelling onions after big shots at the end of the games. Really good stuff. Really good content for the brain on Twitter, watching heartbreaking wins and losses for teams.
Yep.
So, excited for it.
Yep, and it's official. Loyola Chicago to the NCAA tournament.
Missouri Valley Conference champions.
For the 2nd straight year. How about that?
Which one were you missing?
I had to kiss it goodbye, but we get the Derek Jeter. Yeah.
Oh, so you're kind of blank on both of them.
No, I have one.
Oh.
My say hello is spring sports.
Oh, yeah.
Spring sports for high school and really college are getting started across the nation. This week was the first one for high school. And college has been going on for a few weeks now, but I mean we're in the time of spring. The weather's starting to heat up, starting to get nice. Allergies are back. So say hello to spring and spring sports.
Yeah. And you just started your season for
Mhm.
baseball.
Yep, baseball started this week, just got done with the first week. So, busy every day, but it's fun.
Yeah. My kiss it goodbye is my weightlifting numbers. I haven't been able to lift really at all because of my wrist, which has also led me to feeling much fatter, not being able to really work out. But
But
I have been running.
you're off the pepper though, so you
I'm
can't
off
feel
the
that.
pepper,
Yeah.
but it does a lot. It actually has helped, but there's still other factors that play in when you can't really work out at all. In terms of lifting, I have started running to kind of counter it out. So, but yeah, my weightlifting numbers, they're gonna go way down. Haven't been able to bench, squat, clean, any deadlift, none of that stuff. So that's really gonna suck.
Yeah, clean's gonna take a while to come back for too with that movement with the wrist.
Oh
But
yeah, brutal.
yeah, that may be like a month or so. So my kiss it goodbye is Derek Jeter. and the
Kissing goodbye the
Marlins.
Marlins.
Yep, kissing goodbye the Marlins. He's stepped down after a 5-year tenure. So what's the guy's name? Bruce Sherman, I think, should be getting full ownership now of the Miami Marlins.
Yeah.
I think the Marlins are just Derek Jeter said that the reason he stepped down was because of they were not going in the right direction that he wanted. They had different goals, basically. And Derek Jeter was on a lot of winning teams, and he won a lot. And so you have to think that his mindset is to win.
Hasn't he? I'm pretty sure he's lost like Ozuna. Was he there when they lost Yelich?
I think that was right when he first got there, and they started to rebuild again. And now
no,
that's
not
Braves.
Acuna.
And now they're kind of starting to rebuild, and they're
Kinda.
projected to be kind of good this year and really good next year. They got a really, really good pitching staff with Sandy Alcantara, Pablo Lopez, some of the big names leading that. Sandy Alcantara, former Cardinal, by the way, went there in the Ozuna trade.
There's somebody else that was a big name over the last few years.
Giancarlo Stanton?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, he kind of wanted to leave, I think.
Yeah. And didn't they used to have they've changed up the stadium too, I know, over the last few years.
Yeah, they took the statue out.
Yeah.
That was in
it a
center
giant
field,
fish?
the fish statue.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
that was in
noticed
center
that
field.
last year when
Yeah.
I was watching the games at, I think it's Lone Depot Park now.
Yep.
And there was no giant fish. And I just remember the fish really clearly because of the home run derby that was there a few years ago.
Aaron
It was
Judge.
really awesome.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I remember that. And Jeter took it out. He took out the statue and then left. I think they took out the fish behind home plate too. They used to have a fish tank behind home plate, and I think that got taken out really fast. They're like, this isn't gonna work.
This is probably not our best.
Yeah, I mean, it was cool because it was different, but I think the Marlins here, they're gonna get good, maybe make a playoff appearance, and then just trade away all their people again like they always do. Them and the Pirates are consistently bad. For one reason, it's because they don't ever want to pay their players to stay. They would rather be mediocre. And that's probably why they don't have a lot of fans. But
Marlins, man.
Yeah, I don't know how you can root for the Marlins. That's got to be so painful.
Well, he roots for the game too. going to all these cool sporting events.
Yeah.
He makes good.
He is actually probably the biggest advertiser for the Marlins.
Mm-hmm.
Honestly, and he does it for free. The Marlins aren't paying him. So Marlins, if I were the Marlins, I'd personally send a thank you note to that guy every single year. I'd honestly give him free season tickets every single year for right behind home plate.
Yep. Which is where he always sits.
Yeah. That's what I would do because he's a super fan. He's might be the biggest fan of one team in baseball. Really.
Yeah.
And he's a fan of the orange. So maybe bring back the orange too.
Yeah, they got rid of that too.
Yeah, Jeter got rid of that as well. But yeah, Derek Jeter, maybe say hello to the Yankees. Probably not though. But I think he's probably done with the baseball managing, like the front office side of it. I don't think he really enjoyed it that much with the Marlins, but yeah, very wild news. That was broken like right in the middle of the talks for like when they're trying to get the new CBA, and it was like, oh, we have breaking news, but it's actually that Derek Jeter is stepping down. So wrong news that we wanted, but
yeah. So yeah, that wraps up pretty much everything. Like we said, we have a little new camera angle, and
you're all the way over there now.
Yeah, hopefully the audio is okay. There's going to be a few times where it's going to sound weird because I've got it in my ear and it cut out a few times, but not much. So we'll be good to go. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, a little bit of a shorter show today. Wasn't as much news this week. Next one, we'll have a lot because obviously the
tournament.
Yep, tournament bracket should be released. Just keep in mind with the brackets. Keep in mind with the thread that will continue this week, probably in full force. A lot of teams will be eliminated this week. So,
yeah.
Follow us on Twitter. Like we say every episode. That's about it.
Yeah. Well, see you guys next time. Thanks for listening.
You guys have a great week.
No, please, no. Please, everyone be quiet.